This church on Maui is housing hundreds of evacuees, many who lost their homes and some who have missing family members.
It's hard to keep track, honestly, of all the numbers. I think where a lot of us are in shock and can't believe it's so horrific and it's destroyed.
Baby wipes out wipes.
King's Cathedral is taking in donations from across the island. Helicopters filled with food, clothing, and other items have been landing on the fields just outside the church. Volunteers have come from all over Hawaii to help distribute the goods to those in need. But many relatives of residents who are missing or stranded in Lahaina are struggling to help their loved ones. Cell and power service remains cut off in the area. The Federal Emergency Management Agency says at least 2,200 structures have been damaged or destroyed. Nearly 1,500 of them are residential. Hawaii's governor said Saturday amid challenges getting people into accommodations with enough electricity, around 1,000 hotel rooms have been secured for evacuees and first responders, while long-term housing solutions are being sought. The only airport on Maui equipped to receive flights directly from the U.S. mainland, where people have been camped out waiting for flights out, has set aside one runway for relief supply shipments, as places like Cathedral Church work to get them in the hands of those who need them most.
Pretty much morning to night, people have come through, dropping off donations. The people have been extremely generous. This is just 1 out of 3 rooms where people have donated clothing and bedding, and we're organizing it, sifting through it, putting it in sizes.
County officials say as many as 4,500 people are estimated to be in need of a place to stay. With so many displaced from their homes, there is still a scramble for shelter here.
Aloha. So it's an impossible day for us all, and our hearts are with Maui after they've suffered this tragedy. Today is also a day of arrival. It's an arrival of a great deal of services and promises to you. As we shared 2 days ago, the mayor and I want to be very available to tell you what we're seeing, what we can do, what our people are experiencing. And so we appreciate you. We appreciate your patience, because the hard work that's going on behind the scenes is extraordinary. So once again, as we've done before, we want to recognize the work that our fire, our police, now our FEMA teams, and so many other public servants are doing, because the things that they're seeing and the things that our families have experienced are unlike any other experience. So that is why we're trying to be cautious. So I want to share that with you. I have a few slides today to frame our conversation, but here is what our message is. Our message is silence your phones, please. Our message is that we are working as a team. It is rare that we see this level of government leadership all come together. You've heard that we've been in contact at the highest level, and the president has been generous with us beyond measure. But to send the head of FEMA to be with us, who you get to meet in person, the head of the Small Business Association, these are individuals that will be able to describe to you what we can do to help recover, to help heal as a community. So I'm going to get into that in a moment. You're all wondering what we saw on the ground today. There have been more fatalities. The chief will unpack this a little bit more, what they've been seeing, studying, what we've been uncovering. There are 89 fatalities that have been measured. Now, we were here just 2 days ago, and the number was smaller, and it's going to continue to rise. We want to brace people for that. But because of this scale of this operation, we're doing a few things. Let me see if I can pop this slide for you. I may not be able to. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so it's a complicated experience that we faced. So we are going to do some reviews so that we can make things safer going forward. People have asked why we are reviewing what's gone on. It's because the world has changed. A storm now can be a hurricane fire or a fire hurricane. That's what we experienced.
Hi. Once again, on behalf of President Biden, the U.S. Fire Administration is here to survey the fire and try to understand at the beginning of what we see, what did this fire entail. I can tell you that at first observation today, as we walked through Lahaina, it was a very fast-moving fire. It was a low-to-the-ground fire. It was grass-fed by all evidence that we could observe today, moving at a horizontal nature, low to the ground and structure to structure, incredibly fast that outpaced anything the firefighters could have done in the early hours. With that, I can tell you that the firefighters need to be commended. Heroic actions, absolutely the stories that we're hearing. I have been in communication with Chief Ventura since the very beginning and talked with some firefighters today and beginning to hear those stories, which you'll continue to hear over time. The unfortunate part about this is that since 2017, the U.S. has experienced the top 10 fires, wildfires in our nation. This now has superseded the Camp Fire from 2018 that was the deadliest. This fire now has become the deadliest in the last 10 years. And so with that, we are here and will continue to advise throughout recovery and into you rebuilding throughout Lahaina to assure that resilience is part of the plan, that we talk about building codes along the way, and that we are also here for your firefighters. We want to make sure that the firefighters are and their well-being, both physically and that they have access to mental resources as needed as well. So we'll continue to stay in touch with Chief Ventura and lead along your recovery.
So of the 89, so realize this, we when we find these, our family and our friends, the remains we're finding is through a fire that melted metal. We have to do rapid DNA to identify them. Every one of these 89 are John and Jane Does. And so when you are asking us, and we know we've got to get, and I love the way our House representative, how she said it, she was so eloquent. We know we've got to go quick, but we got to do it right. So when we pick up the remains and they fall apart, and so when you have 200 people running through the scene yesterday, and some of you, that's what you're stepping on. I don't know how much more you want me to describe it. That's what you're stepping on. Give us a little bit of time to contain that. Please. Because we've got to go make 89 notifications. And coming from a place that had to make 58, I understand the pain this is going to take. And we're not done with 89. So just understand what this thing is, because none of us really know the size of it yet. Everybody wants a number. You want it fast or you want it right? We're going to do it right. There's a thing for all of you that are not from here. It's called Coconut Wireless. And what that is it's if you could bottle it up and sell it, you guys are going to be mega billionaires, because it's the speed of which news travels amongst the islands in some aspects. But it's a lot of rumors. And so the reason I say it is we looked into this. We had officers respond to where we thought calls might have been. There was no victim standing by. Not one report was taken. Now, could there have been some of those things and they haven't come up through the reports the proper way? Sure, that's possible. But any of the calls that came into us, we didn't have that. And here's why I mentioned at the very beginning what I said. Patience, prayers, and perseverance. We need patience. We're going to get the resources as fast as we can. This is a united team, one fight. One fight for Maui. We're going to get it. But the fake news, maybe I pissed off somebody when I said fake news, but the fake news is we can't have that. So just report it right.